So here's the thing. So I am like a super pro military, pro law enforcement guy. And I don't like the kneeling of athletes during the national anthem. And to be honest, I'm not saying I'm against them doing it as much as like just as a personal choice. I don't like it. And beyond that, I don't get it until now. So all the work I've done on race, I promote things on social media all the time, different things about race I'm working on. And so many times I come with something I think is so important and relevant, and I put it on social media, gets zero traction. And sort of sometimes it's disappointing and sad. Well, recently somebody was tweeting about the University of Central Florida football team. And UCF was getting ready to play the Naval Academy. And so this person tweeted and they said, hey, UCF football fans, try not to boo the cadets when they run the field. I mean, they're making the point of like, hey, UCF football, you guys, you boo your opponents, and I get it. But these people, these men and women are going to end up like, keeping our nation safe in a couple of years. So why not, don't boo them. So the guy tweets this, and I thought, well, that is a good point. Well, as a side note, I'm a trustee for Bethune-Cookman University, which is a small Christian, historically black college. And we played UCF. And when we played UCF, I bought a cabana on the football field. By the way, I wrote the check to UCF, and I have an endowed scholarship at UCF. So I greatly respect UCF. Here I am on the football field. And in my cabana is the president of Bethune-Cookman University. And, Bethune-Cookman has about 3,000 students. UCF has 70,000 students. And UCF was favored by 5 touchdowns, and they did win by 5 touchdowns. And as I'm standing there and our athletes come running on the field, the Bethune-Cookman football players run on the field, they got booed. They got booed by the UCF fans. And I thought, that is so rude. How could they do that? 60 years ago, the black players playing for UCF wouldn't be able to play for UCF. They'd have to play at Bethune-Cookman because 60 years ago, UCF didn't allow black players. I mean, I just really hit me. So anyway, so this guy had tweeted that, hey, UCF fans, don't boo the cadets. So I tweeted, and I don't often do this because I juice this a little bit. I replied and said, hey, I agree. Hey, UCF fans, I think when you booed the Bethune-Cookman players, I think that was racist. Now, here's what's crazy. That tweet is like the most viral tweet I'd ever done. And the UCF fans came at me hard. They were mad, and they really came at me hard, and they were, well, we boo everybody, this kind of thing. And of course, as I tried to engage with them a little bit, they got madder and madder, and they were saying not nice things to me. But here's the interesting part. 2 different UCF fans, not related to each other, messaged me privately through Twitter and said, hey, why did you say that? And so I was able to have a dialogue with them where I gave them the history. Bethune-Cookman and UCF are less than an hour apart from each other. Bethune-Cookman's a lot older than UCF, but there's a lot of history there with both schools and trying to give some background. At the end of it, I had really good dialogue and exchange with 2 people I would never talk to. And in a way, I was able to get my message out like I never could before. So my point saying that is that we have a hard time sometimes as a nation having hard conversations. And I found myself the first time thinking, Colin Kaepernick, I don't like that kneeling during the national anthem, but doggone it, maybe he got it right. Maybe he got it right. Maybe it took something like that to get people talking. And I didn't like saying that I thought the UCF fans were being racist. I didn't feel great doing that tweet. And I don't like it that that's what created the dialogue, but it really taught me a lesson, And by the way, I don't think the booing was racist. I think it was a little bit ignorant. I thought it was a little bit like, hey, UCF fans, why don't you think this through a little bit? Like, who are you booing and why are you booing them? And maybe let's have a little more dialogue about that. So I just say that, like, it's trying to create more and more space for people to have hard conversations and listen to each other. I was thinking about the topic of Black Lives Matters. And to me, the heart of that message is that in so many times throughout communities across America, There have been many, 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 many examples of black people dying at the hands of police, inappropriately dying, being murdered, and then it never gets talked about. And you know, when we take a segment of society and they're treated unjustly, and then they're not given a voice, it's going to explode in some way. And so then Black Lives Matter comes along and it comes out and you're like, wow, man, I really see this is where this is coming from. And when people say it, they need to be heard and create a conversation. The other side of that, as I was traveling in rural South Dakota, very small town, and I saw a sign in a window and it said, Blue Lives Matters. And I was thinking to myself, well, in this little town, I bet you that that cop probably is related to a bunch of people in that town. They know that person. They're related to that person. And in their world, pushing and promoting Blue Lives Matters, that matters too. That matters too. So they don't have to be against each other. They can be true in different contexts, right? They can be true here, and this can be true here. But we've got to learn to be able to have both those dialogues in a healthy way without screaming at each other, and then resolve and address those issues, right? So that's just another example of stuff we're trying to talk about with Crossman Career Builders.